were you surprised that there just didn't seem to be any trade market? There'd been so much talk about trading down, a couple of teams trading up for quarterbacks, and it just didn't materialize at all, like until the first 12, 13, 14 picks. Very similar to last year, first half of the draft.
Yeah, I obviously I know that's a topic of a conversation that everyone's going to ask, and I'll kind of just give you exactly what happened. We had a lot of conversations. We never got a firm offer. No team put anything on the table. Had multiple conversations with multiple teams. They were kind of fishing around, and we were open for business, as you guys know, and nothing was ever put on in front of us to evaluate. So I've told you guys a lot that it takes two teams to make a trade. So unfortunately, we were open and willing to move back a little bit, and we felt like we had a group of players that we really liked that we could have gotten if we moved back. But we stood pat, took the best player that we felt can help our team, and we're excited to have Jeff.
Thank you.
Bob, just to follow up on that, I guess a little bit. Do you think that's due to the quarterback situation? Was that due to the sort of life we're in right now with Corona, where people couldn't get their hands on people? The virtual draft. I mean, is there any explanation for why the trade market wasn't hot?
Yeah, I don't have a good explanation, Dave. I think that's probably more of a question for the teams that were behind us. I don't know. We had our normal pre-draft conversations with all the teams, and the few teams that showed a little bit of interest, just ultimately, as we got through today, just for whatever reason, decided to stay put. I think looking back, they probably got the guys that they probably would have taken the three. So it's take two teams to tango, and listen, we feel good about it. Like God, there's a lot of talk about trade because there hasn't been a lot of talk about right in sports. So there's been a lot of chatter about quarterback this, offensive line that for the teams that are behind us. Ultimately, looking back at it, it really didn't mean much because nothing happened. But like I said, really happy with how it turned out for us. We got the player we wanted to.
Michael Rothstein.
Yeah, Bob, do you think that looking back, you could have maybe created more of a market to potentially entice a trade, whether smoke screened a little bit differently, smoke screened a little bit more with maybe wanting a quarterback? Or do you think that was just never that people would have seen through that pretty quickly?
I don't know. We evaluate all the positions the same, and the guys that are highly rated across the board at any position. I never say we're not going to evaluate a position. So we evaluate the quarterbacks. We have a good quarterback. We feel great with Matthew Stafford. So I think I've said that over and over again. Listen, teams do a very in-depth analysis of your roster and your needs and your contract situations. So not to put down the pundits out there, but like the teams know better than the people that are reporting on it about what teams need and what teams can actually do. So I think we did the best we can. It's pretty interesting because the two teams that were behind us directly were the Giants and the Dolphins, and I'm very close friends with both their head coaches I worked with for a very long time. So I think they know myself, they know Matt, and obviously we don't share our inner secrets, but they can look at our team and they can evaluate our needs and they can look at our contracts, and that's just kind of how it went.
And just to be clear, now that it's over, how far back would you have felt comfortable going?
That's a hypothetical question, Mike, because you got to tell me what was the return on the investment. I can go back 20 spots if they're going to give me their entire draft, right? But it all depends what's coming back in return.
That's fair.
Okay, we'll go Dave Burkett for a follow-up, and then Jim Parker.
We caught Dave sleeping. He wasn't ready for the follow-up that quick, Eamon.
Dave, you're muted still.
Is that better?
We got you now.
All right. Sorry about that. Not sure what was happening there. Well, I just wanted to ask about the debate. You mentioned that top group of players that you were considering. Can you just take us inside some of those discussions about evaluating players, let's just say Simmons, Brown, who are on an equal level what is the thing that puts you over the top for one guy over another, in this case, Okudah?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into a lot of specifics about the players we didn't take. I don't think that's fair to those guys. We liked we liked those players up at the top of the draft. Was able to get down and see both those pro days of the two players you mentioned and spend time with both of them. So that was great. Felt good. I think they're going to have good NFL careers. We just felt like total package, what we were looking for, what we were trying to add to our defense, that Jeff was the right pick for us. So it's not one little thing or one big thing. It's the whole picture. You're getting the whole player and you're getting the whole person. And Simmons and Brown are great people and great players too. So it was a hard decision. Those guys were all up there in the conversation for sure. And just felt really comfortable in the end with the decision we made.
Jim Parker.
Hi, Bob. You talk about comfortable moving back. I mean, was there any point where you looked to get back into that first round a little bit later, or are you sort of satisfied with where you sit heading into day two?
Yeah, we did have a couple conversations. Truthfully, so I don't know where we started, maybe 25, 26, somewhere in there. Made a couple calls. Some teams wanted to move back, some teams didn't. Ultimately, just decided to stay put, and felt good with the players we have on the board tomorrow and the position we're in, picking at 35, third pick in the second round. I think there'll be a number of players there that we feel good about. Looking at the board tonight when the draft ended, we feel good about a good number of players, and even the scenario of moving back too, because the top of the second round has been kind of probably the new first round, right? Teams get to kind of reset their boards, and there's a lot of action the first 5 picks in the second round. So we'll see what happens. We're gonna get a good night's rest here. It's a little bit late. We'll regroup as a staff mid-morning and kind of go through those scenarios, and be ready to go at 7:00 tomorrow.
Justin Rogers, then Jake Reitma.
Hey, Bob, you've done a lot of work on your coverage on the back end. How do you feel about your pass rush at this point as you're going into the second phase of the draft?
Yeah, it's pass rush is always something you think about. Doesn't matter who you have on the roster. You could have Lawrence Taylor. You're still going to want more pass rush. It's something that's important. So something we'll look at. There's guys on the board that we like at all levels of the draft that fit in the pass rush category. So it's something we look at every year, and we'll continue to do that.
Jake Reitma.
Yeah, with 97 won the ticket, filling in for Jeff Rieger, he's on the air right now. How much discussion was there just about taking Tua with the number 3 pick overall?
Wow, that's a strong question. You just went right after it. It's good. We evaluated Tua. Had a really good meeting with him. This guy's a very energetic guy and a charismatic guy in the interview process. Talked to Coach Saban about him a lot. Call down. Obviously, we make a lot of this year. We probably made more calls to college coaches just because we had more time to do that. So we talked to Nick about all their guys down there, and they love him down there. I think he's an excellent college quarterback. He's going to be an excellent pro quarterback. The medical was something that was evaluated as well, and those are all the things you have to put into equation. So to answer your question, we evaluated everybody from top to bottom, and Tua was no different.
Larry Lage, then Jen Hammond.
Just talk about how having multiple picks over the next couple days maybe gives you some leverage and some, fodder to move up if you want at some point.
Yeah. Good point, Larry. Obviously, when you got multiple thirds and multiple fifths, you can move around the board. It gives you more flexibility, right? So those extra picks we picked up in the Philly trade, we'll look at that and kind of see where that takes us, whether that's things in the second or third round that you can get extra picks, or you can move up and go and attack a guy that you have on your board. But yes, it's hard to do when you don't have a lot of picks, and this year we do have a couple extras, so you try to use those wisely, whether it's the totality of the depth of the draft and you sit there and just pick them, or you kind of use 1 or 2 of them and move up and attack a player.
Jennifer Hammond.
Was there something, Bob, about Okudah and just maybe his skill set or the scheme he played in at Ohio State that makes him someone who will be more equipped to come in to this season without an extended off-season program, and how much will that play into the picks going forward, and how much did it relate to him? If you could touch on that, please.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that's something that, we're not the only team kind of thinking that way and trying to look at, okay, well, listen, the off-season program is going to be limited. We'll see what training camp looks like when we get there. So what guys are really ready to step in, and you got to look at a guy that, we use the word potential, we use the word upside in our business a lot, right? And that's why we pay our coaches to teach these guys and develop them and get that upside out of them. Well, it's kind of hard when you have the coaches trying to teach these guys remotely, how to do technique and things like that. So in Jeff's case, you see him play a lot of press coverage. You see him at the line of scrimmage. You see him use his hands. So a lot of stuff that we do defensively, you can just pop on Ohio State and just watch it, and it's very similar. It's not exactly the same, but he was very well coached there. Jeff Hathley, who's the head coach at Boston College now, was their defensive coordinator last year. He came in from San Francisco 49ers, so he's got an NFL pedigree. Myself and coach know Jeff very well. He's a guy we leaned on in this process because Ohio State had so many defensive prospects.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a guy that we talked to in depth about all of them. And so feel that, the skill set matches into being able to come in and hopefully, and we expect him to come in and play right away and help us win.
Okay, we'll go last two, Dave Burkett, then Jamie Edmonds.
Just one last one for you, Bob.
Yep.
Just thoughts on the Packers trading up for Jordan Love.
Yeah, noticed that. Yeah, interesting, right?
Absolutely.
Interesting trade. I haven't really, put a lot of thought into it. I just saw it kind of come through as it happened there. So we were trying to figure out what they were taking, and quarterback we had kind of on their need, but just not as high. So interesting. Probably, call Goody, ask him. Love to hear his thoughts on it.
All right, Jamie, last question.
All right, my question is on the technology. Bob, how did it go? Did things change from the last time we talked to you about these different Zoom meetings and the guys out in the Winnebago? How'd it go?
Yeah, no, we had no technology glitches at all. Everything was really smooth on our end. Again, I've been crediting the RIT guys, Levi Wilson and Steve Lancaster. They've been outstanding. So we had no issues. The Winnebago showed up at about 6 p.m., backed into the driveway. We had a lot of people in the neighborhood coming over taking pictures, so that'll be interesting to see what's out there on you guys can probably, Twitter troll those guys pretty good. See if you can find some of those. But we had, we had quite a spread here. We had some food delivered. A friend of mine was fortunate enough to send us over some food, so that was nice. We shared that with Steve out in the Winnebago. My kids enjoyed it. We have lots of desserts left over, so it's going to be a long weekend here in the Quinn household. I'm just telling you. So there's a lot of food. There's a lot of calories that are still in the kitchen right now. And I'm about to go in there now, actually, because my kids are in bed, so I can go there and just go to town here for a little bit.
There's a Clark Griswold joke to be made. I won't.
Oh, there is. Yeah. Did you see that on Twitter? Someone screenshotted and texted me right like an hour after the Winnebago showed up. It was hysterical.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll be in touch tomorrow.
I see one more question. Do your kids have to get up at 8:20 for school? Well, our school starts at 8:45. So my son will get up at 8:43. He'll turn his computer on and he'll be in class on time. My daughter will be up at 8 o'clock. That's what and she'll be dressed, ready to go, because that's just her.
Did the kids get a kick out of it? I saw a lot of kids like kind of lingering in the background. I know at first, I think Matt's son was with him, and then your kids kind of came into the picture. Was it kind of a cool experience?
Yeah, it was super cool. There's never going to be a draft like this again, right? Honestly, I'm fortunate that, as the general manager, I've had my son in the draft room for a pick or two each year. But he kind of sits in the corner and, I tell him, don't say anything and be quiet. But this year, I'm sitting there. I'm like, listen, they have to enjoy it too, right? This has been a trying time for everybody in this country, and so they've been locked in this house with me, my stress case, trying to get ready for the draft. So they deserve a little fun. So I invited him in here when I got on the clock, and we called Coach and I were on a 3-way call with Jeff, and you know, I thought that was a cool thing, and you know, maybe we'll do it again tomorrow.
Can you see Justin Rogers right now?
I cannot see Justin. Hold on, you guys, bear with me.
Get Justin.
Eamon, I'm getting paid. I need to get paid overtime.
There he is.
Whoa.
Wait,
Whoa.
I need a picture of this.
You guys, I mean, listen, you guys, I'm just gonna tell you, the backgrounds are super boring. Like, Woj, what are you doing? Like, I need a background tomorrow, Woj. I'm not doing a press conference unless Woj gets a background.
I have Christmas lights.
A window right there.
Carlos, I mean, where are you, Carlos? You at the library? I mean, listen, you guys have all day tomorrow. You're gonna write your articles now. You're gonna get up. You're gonna sleep late. You're gonna have breakfast. You need to take 10 minutes and get me a good background for tomorrow night, or I'm gonna be very disappointed. You too, Rothstein. Where are you?
There he is.
All right. Tori looks like she's like lounging at the club. All right, we got Megan. Hi, Megan. Chris Burke's like looks like he's in his, where you at, Chris? Larry, nice job, Larry. Oh, wait, Jennifer, let me see.
I've got Christmas lights and a dog.
Oh, that's awesome. Burkett turned his camera off because he's scared. All right, I've had enough fun.
Yeah.
You guys,
thank you for your time.
Yeah, you guys get a good night rest. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow night, probably same time, same bat channel.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Eamon.
Bob.